life. Welcome back, Shinners. It's part 2 of the Radical Bikes special podcast. We've just heard from the wonderful king and queen of Radical Bikes. I've just picked up a hobo from the street too, who's come to join us.
Dragged me in from outside.
The official ambassador, Chris Jackson, is with us. And now we're going to talk to the god and goddess of Radical Bikes. Let's imagine we've got a big crowd here because they really need that kind of round of applause, let's be honest. Let's hear it for Mick and Maria Mitchell. Hey, guys.
Afternoon, guys. How you doing?
Yeah, we're very well, thank you. Nice to be sitting here and chatting with you guys again.
Thank you.
Good.
And you.
Good.
Nice to see you both.
Staying out of the rain.
Yeah, where are you in the world right now? Where are you staying safe?
We are in Suffolk at home, where we've been now for seems like forever. But yeah, we found a little place in Suffolk that we moved to. Get rid of you lot, but
yeah, managed to escape the rad lot, but you haven't. Let's be honest, it's still
don't want it to.
No, that's true.
I'm glad you've got your Radical Bikes hat on, Matt.
Oh yes, I mean I would have worn the T-shirt, but you wouldn't tell, because it's something happened. There's another story on that from that Tom mentioned earlier. So you wouldn't have seen that. We've got the proper Shin Dig merch on today.
I do have the T-shirt on.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, actually,
I do
Chris
have
does.
the T-shirt on.
It's underneath.
Yeah.
Good lad.
So
Good lad.
I've got the hat. Chris has got the tee. Loving it. I actually, I think my mum sent me a photo of one of the very first Radical Bikes tees. I think I've got one at home, and I really need to dig that out and get it on.
It was going to be the first tease, which was Life's a Trial and High on Dirt, which had a picture of my Matt, on the trials one and Tom on the dirt tee.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to make my fortune. I thought, everybody.
That's how they were going to become celebrities, silhouette celebrities. I
still have mine at home, one of each.
Yeah.
Well, they're that sought after. I think we only made 50, and they're. I've trashed a few.
Collector's items now.
They sound pretty rare then. So if anyone's got any rare Radical Bikes memorabilia, please get in touch. We'd love to see that. You actually just showed me off air quickly, Maria, the first and original membership cards of Radical Bikes.
We had membership cards for the first to begin with.
Number 1 and number 2.
Matt and Tom's, obviously, from the original setup where rather than just paying, you could just come pay to ride, but we also did a membership, and it was mostly aimed at the Essex Bike Trail Club, wasn't it? Yeah, because we wanted to do them sort of a cheaper membership, and then local lads, just to sort of get through the door, really, because obviously we just had no clue if anybody would come. So that membership was a part of it, and I, as a soppy mum, had to keep the memorabilia.
Oh, it's important. Yeah, things like that. I still didn't find them. I know we spoke about it, but somewhere I even have like the first few Radfest wristbands. Yeah. There's a box.
I was just going to say, I've still got a couple of wristbands somewhere as well.
Almost certain.
There we go.
Oh.
Yeah, we did have a little.
So what years have you managed to find there?
I think the earliest I've got is 2012. I think the 2012 one. There was
where I've got 2011 somewhere.
Yeah, and I will probably have it somewhere because I am a bit of a hoarder. So.
It's important to keep those bits of memories. And obviously, during this time, how are you guys staying busy, staying at home? What are you doing to kind of keep sane at the moment? You can say listening to our podcast.
It's a big part of our schedule, isn't it?
That is, yeah. We blimey, you've gone.
Have you gone?
Oh, we might jump back. Sometimes the video's pretty.
Ah, right. Okay.
We'll
keep on talking.
Yeah, that's fine.
We're doing a little bit of work. Maria's still teaching.
I'm still in school 3 days a week for key worker children, and
I'm clearing out the shed, which is obviously a good man thing to do.
Building the man cave.
Yeah.
You need to do that. And basically waiting for the weather to dry up.
Yeah.
Then we can get on with things and start cracking on.
Yeah.
And you still settled into your new home. When did you make that move from leaving Radical Bikes in the capable hands of Tom and Molly.
Well, that's sort of been a bit of a progression, really.
Yeah.
Obviously, moving out of the farmhouse.
That was 2018, wasn't it?
That was 2018, and we still didn't go, there you go, Tom, it's on a Wednesday, it's yours now. We had a good year where Tom and Molly were getting into the management role, if you like.
Bit of a handover process.
Obviously, we're still not hands-on as such, but we're there as a little bit of an umbrella. If they have a question, they need to know, and we obviously want to be very much part of it, and always will be. So had a bit of a year of transition,
sort of handing over,
and they did the best part of 2019 on their own. All of last year, because obviously lockdown, etc.
Last year was very restricted. Obviously,
we weren't able to get to Rad to do much at all. But they've been great. They're young, they're keen,
into it.
They're enthusiastic.
They do all right.
It's their life, isn't it? It is a lifestyle, though. Yes. And that's why it kind of. I know we touched base on it a little bit before, but there was only so much you guys could do. I think you mentioned perhaps if you'd started a bit earlier, you might have carried it on, but it felt definitely more of something that you were going to hand down to either one of the kids. Or...
Well, initially we had no clue how it would go, and we sort of thought we would give it 5 years. We said, didn't we? We thought we'd give it 5 years and see if anything is working. And then obviously we've now gone beyond that, But we've always said to both boys, do it because you want to do it. Don't the minute it stops being something you don't want to do, don't feel you are obliged to do it. Do it.
Yeah, if it's forced, it's never nice.
We've lost your video, Matt.
Yeah, that's okay, because as long as the recording comes back. So I'll just hang on, I might bring it back just for you guys. Hold on. Try and refresh it and wake it up. But as long as you can hear me.
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
All right, it may jump back in because I can see myself. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. So the whole start of Rad was well. Do you want the?
Yes. So that's what I was going to touch on now. You mentioned you've been sort of 5 years. Let's go right to the very beginning. Now you explained it briefly before, Mick. So I see if you can sort of do it again. How did Radical Bikes even become what it is? What were those first kind of tipping points that made you realise, okay, let's do this?
The first thing, as with anything, it all evolves. But the first thing is that the boys wanted to do bike trials. Well, Matthew wanted to do bike trials and go to a club. Tom wanted a trick bike and a stunt bike, and I still to this day sort of feel a bit guilty that when he said, I want a trick bike, a stunt bike, and saw it in the window, I said, no, don't be silly.
Yeah.
It's got no saddle, you can't ride that.
I think that's what most of our parents said at that point. Yeah.
Didn't understand what they were at all.
No. A little while later, the same shop had a poster in the wall, Essex Bike Trial Club, come and do some training, see what it's all about at Thriftwood. And Matthew said, I'd like to go to that. And we went, of course, son, a club that's got structure,
organised.
It's all so we went there and ended up buying the trick stunt bikes from the shop, and this is probably where we met Chris. The Essex
very
bike
long time
Which
ago.
bike was the one which was the bike that you got? So Tom saw one of them when you're like, no, you can't have that, we're not having a bike like that. And what was Matt's first bike?
Got Onzas,
because it was an Onza that was in the window, right?
Pro, maybe.
T-Pro, yeah, I think
no,
so.
No, it wasn't new. We got
second
it was
hand
on Tesco's for sale board, I think.
Yes,
Yes.
And we thought that looks
Chris.
a bit more affordable.
Literally bought a second-hand one. I think it might have been a T-Bird, actually.
Oh, T-Bird, yeah, that
sounds about right.
Yeah.
And within a couple of trials, as kids do, I want pedals, this, that, and the other. I've broken that.
Yeah.
And Tom pretty much stayed with Onza for quite a while. Matthew went on to Monty.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're getting away from the Rad thing.
Yeah, go on.
Done a couple of trials with the Essex Bike Trial Club. They needed observers, as always. Yeah. I couldn't sit there, so I ended up observing. Then next trial, they needed somebody to help set out the course, move bits and pieces. So I volunteered.
The man that you are, yes, of course. I'll get my hands dirty.
Then boys went to training, came back and said, "Oh, we can't go to a certain venue." I said to Stuart that maybe we could do that at the farm. Okay, fair enough. So rather than just going into the woods and doing some muddy banks and tree trunk, I built some stuff at the farm, which involved 3 Land Rovers, an Arctic lorry.
I remember this.
Yeah, absolutely. Which sort of a lot of people gave us some very good feedback to.
It sounds like quite the operation, Mick. You said it so like casually, Arctic lorry, you know.
Well, a lot of what has happened in the last probably 12, 13 years since I had the 2 boys and started to get into the cycling has been facilitated by the man that I work for, Michael Apostolides, and now his son Macaulay. They have enabled me to not only have the set of skills that can do this, but also have the equipment and the store cupboard, if you like, of very strange things. Items, most of the stuff in the field today has come from Apostolides.
So they played a huge part in Radical Bikes. Shout out to them. Thank you so much.
They've supported the company. They've supported us. They gave us or donated all the steel for the foam pit. If ever we needed a crane, look back at some videos. There's a big IAB lorry. That was all from my boss, goodwill. Goodwill and amazing. But anyway, we digress. So yes, we did the trial in the farmyard. That was fantastic.
So it's the first thing you built was the kind of the obstacle trials section was the number.
No, this time it was not on the Radical Bike site, which is over the road from the farmhouse. It was in the farmyard. So it was put it there on Saturday, ride it Sunday, take it all apart on Monday.
For the horses.
For the horses, because it's a farmyard or riding school.
Riding school,
Then we got a couple of tree trunks on a piece of land over the road, which is now Radical Bikes. And in this mix somewhere along the line, Matthew and Tom had a parting of styles of riding. Matthew stayed with trials and Tom went BMX dirt jump.
You might know a bit about this, Chris, I'm sure.
Yeah, which is obviously what one of our sports is now. But we were holidaying, where we'd been for years, and we took 2 different bikes one year. We took a trials bike for Matthew. We took a jump bike for Tom. And the whole holiday was spent with one kid absolutely loving it, other kid being as miserable as sin. We went to all the places. We went to Trevornance Cove.
Trevornance Cove was a good one for trial.
Amazing trials place there. The track at Portreath, amazing for dirt jumps. Came back, went to work for a rest, and my boss said, "Had a good holiday, Mick." And I went, "Well, it's all right, but two different bikes, that doesn't work." One kid miserable, and he said, "Well, what you need is a place where you can have both sports." And I went, "That's a radical idea." And he went, "That's it, fantastic." He bought us radicalbikes.co.uk on that day
before you could even say, "It's all right, it's yours."
Oh, that's a good name. And he
that's a good name, and did it. And he went, "It's £35. I've just bought that for you, so nobody else gets it." And we developed from there, not really knowing what we were doing.
No.
We
still don't really.
We still don't. Yeah. The saying that if you build it, they will come seems to have worked.
It definitely did. Yeah.
It's evolved over the years. We never intended to have a shop. We did the display team. that everybody.
We'll get onto that because I've got the very first photo of your first display team, I believe you sent me.
Right, okay.
We'll touch base on that. Yeah, go on.
Questions. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
Yes. So it very much the very early days. It was a question of get out of bed, put some cans of water in the back of the car, drive over the road. Maria would check people in. I would make some obstacles, and the boys and a few friends would come and ride.
Yeah.
And
do you remember going there at that point, Chris? This is like
I remember,
super early days. What can you remember from that sort of part?
I remember the exact trial Mick was on about in the yard with the Land Rovers. Because I remember loads of people obviously riding on the metal Land Rover and kicking and just wheels spinning off the the roof and the bonnet of it and just ruining themselves. I went to met these guys, Mick and Maria, Tom and Matt, at the Essex bike trial. So even before Rad was a thing, so I've known these guys for.
So that group that Mick was talking about when they said, "Oh, we'll go to that club," and go meet some friends, and that's where they met you, and you all met sort of each other.
So I've known these guys for, I can't even tell you how long.
The first day to the rest of his life.
Too long. It is too long.
It's got to be 14, 15 years.
Yeah,
Chris,
something like that. And
Chris,
I've always sort of stuck glued to Tom's hip. We sort of,
we did touch base because Mick, beforehand you did mention about sort of Tom's flip-flop being, I'm into this now, then I've moved to sort of this, and then moved to another.
Tom is exceedingly however you like to interpret it. He's obviously lucky he's got a venue on his doorstep.
Yeah.
And he's got mum and dad that have embraced what he wants to do. But you can only ride so much. And what Tom has done is he's gone around all the sports, namely dirt, BMX trials, and now brakeless. And only a little while ago, I saw a picture and he's got his BMX out again.
Yeah.
It's lovely because it keeps it fresh for him and it keeps him enthusiastic. We, as a family, we've made so many friends, so many. I call everybody my kids.
I was about to say it's more so your extended family.
Yes, the extended family is so huge, and Tom is. I think it was more by luck than judgment, but now it's certainly it seems to be a bit of a plan. He would go and ride various different bikes, so he keeps in touch with various different groups of friends. Because as you guys all know, BMXers are very, very different to trials riders, and dirt jumpers are again a different group.
It's so hard to be able to.
They just have their own little cliques, don't they?
Yeah. That's what it is, and he couldn't be a better person to kind of facilitate that because he has been in all of those groups, should I say?
And
I just remember we had we actually did it when Tom was first sort of getting into his BMX. We took him and Alex Mills down to Cornwall, and we did all the skate parks that we could find in Cornwall, didn't we?
Yeah.
Just to. And we were doing radical bikes at that stage, but it's a long while ago. And we sort of learnt a lot by just visiting skate parks, you know, and seeing what the kids were doing there. And Tom and Alex obviously were riding and enjoying it, and some things were really way beyond them, and some things were rideable. And so whatever bit they've been into, we've tried to sort of, allow them to do it, because obviously, he wasn't driving or anything.
Give them an area to progress and practice that, or do what they really wanted.
Opportunity to go and see if that's what they want to do. So we did a bit of fact finding like that, didn't we? Things like that.
But also, one of the if there's a message to anybody out there, if you're not enjoying it, don't do it for a while. Go back to it. Change it. Just if you've tried that side hop for the 100th time, go away. Don't let it get you annoyed. Just go away. Come back another day.
It's got to be fun.
And Tom's riding has done that.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know,
you've got to keep things fresh. You know, just to keep them interesting. Same thing. It could be a new part, could be a new rider to meet. But either way, yeah, if you're doing the same thing over and over, it can get a bit tedious.
Yeah, that's it.
It's nice to see him riding weightless. I mean, that's something that I find fascinating to watch how people do.
I mean, it's one of those things that's so niche, and he's quite a niche rider with himself now. I think he saw that he could go, hang on a minute, I've done this riding. I could actually stand out from everybody else because I've had that mix. So very important part to play, I think.
Well, between the different things.
Tom does tend to plough his own furrow, and I love that.
So do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when you can, why not? You know,
Exactly.
if it's there. So, well, as you know, Radical Bikes has had a huge impact there from, like you said, from the start. You didn't think it would become, to me, one of the most important areas in trials in our country, as well as giving people direction in life. I know it sounds stupid, but I took a few years off trials. I moved to America, and then when I came back here, one of the reasons I lived here now is because of where Radical Bikes is. That itself made me choose where I wanted to be. What do I want to do with my life? Where do I want to spend my spare time? And I didn't know anyone when I came here. So for me to come, moving from sort of Cornwall in America to London, you were my family.
Yeah.
So
that is really,
it was really important to me, and I'm making it clear that I don't think you have any idea how impactful it was, or how impactful Radical Bikes is. I'm sure Chris can relate. It's your life, right?
I've spent many nights on Mick Maria's sofa. I think 2019, I pretty much spent every weekend on Tom's sofa.
Yeah.
So I was there every weekend.
Your other adopted son over here.
Yeah.
But also, you saying that, we never set out to do that.
No.
We never set out to be whatever it is to anybody, but it just grows. And people, I get, I get it. Yeah, Mike Singleton, he's doing a thing in Wales somewhere now, and he rang me up a few weeks ago saying, "Oh, Mick, I'm thinking about setting up this bike park. I thought I'd touch base with you." It's very organic. There's no rule to it. You've just got to give it a go.
Yeah.
And it's Radical Bikes is far more than 2.5 acres with some dirt jumps and some obstacles. It's, as you say, it's a family,
isn't it?
And rough and smooth. There's lots of guys that have ridden every weekend, every session, and then they go and they do something else. They either find a different sport or somewhere else, and might come back 2-3 years later with a baby.
Yeah.
Oh, hi Mick. Yeah, I just thought we've been blessed with this new little child, and we thought we had to come and show you and Maria.
Yeah.
That's something
that's really
nice. I think it's sort of like Joe and Rankin are good examples of that, aren't they? They've been around, you're part of the family.
It's done. It's we've met people and become friends with them, and gone to their weddings and see them have families, and it's invaluable. It's lovely. It's lovely for us, and it's it's become a place where people feel welcome to just come and pop in. And it doesn't matter if you haven't been for a year, it doesn't matter if you haven't been for 5 years. Come in and see us, have a cup of tea, have a chat. It's
not just a bike park. It's a wedding venue too, because we know Tom and it's a place for people to meet. Tom and Molly, they met at Radical Bikes. They got married at Radical Bikes. They now live and breathe Radical Bikes.
Molly had no idea what she was getting herself in for.
When you guys, it's fine. When you guys listen to part 1, we go into how they met, so you'll enjoy that.
Yeah, that's business.
But no, we've gained a huge amount from it. I mean, we've learned so many things that we would never have learned otherwise.
No.
We never run a business. You can probably tell. You know, we've never done bookkeeping or get a website set up or bit of social media, and you know, and so we've learned. It's given us skills that we didn't have. Hopefully, we've got the skills. And loads of opportunities to go to things that we wouldn't have been to, meet people. So it's a two-way thing, you know. It's nice that we've given something out, but it's also we get a lot back.
Yeah.
So and we keep getting a lot back, even now where we step back a bit. We still.
Well, look, you've got people chasing you in your own house to talk to you and video you. So I think you'll never get away.
No.
But obviously we've probably the longest, one of the best sort of bike parks in the country, was also the producer of one of the most important bike festivals in our time. I wanted to go and touch base on a little bit of Radfest, and Mick, we'll sort of talk about how did that even start, and how did you, I know Jack sort of had some play with that too, so.
It's not my fault. The Radfest thing, again, organic. It's a perfect storm. Somebody that can make something, see something in his head, has the equipment, and the ability to say, right, okay, you want one pipe on top of another. A lot of people will just run away and say that can't be done or whatever. But I have that ability now more than I did then.
Yeah.
But what I had no idea was how much work goes into anything that isn't the bricks and mortar, if you like.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where Jack Meek came in. He, terrific guy. I met Jack at an Essex bike trial club. It may well have been a British national, because we've held a couple of British nationals at Radical Bikes.
Yeah.
Stuart Matthews from Essex Bike Trial Club supported the boys, supported us. Really, really nice guy.
He's a key person.
Pulled me to one side at this trial and said, "See that guy over there with the hair coming out under his helmet? Jack is a bit ginger, isn't he?
Yeah, strawberry blonde.
Yeah, something like that.
But Stuart said to me, that guy over there, he's a really big player. He's got his head screwed on. He knows what's what. It'd be good for you to chat to him."
He's like, you guys need to bump heads, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? It sort of steered me in the right direction. And I don't know if he said the same thing to Jack. But we got together over a cup of tea that day and had a chat. And Jack said, I've got somebody that, you know, this is a good place. Aren't many of these, if any.
Yeah.
And that was it. A few weeks later, Jack contacted me and said, I'd like to pop over and see you at Rad at some point. I've got this guy who's got some ideas. Okay, Jack. So Jack turned up one day in the field with Joe Poyser from Onza, Moor Lodge. And we chatted, and Joe said, I'd like to do something, a bit of a festival type thing.
It was still screaming out for that. It didn't exist at that point, was there really?
No, absolutely nothing. I think maybe Cox Days in France might have been.
Yeah.
Yes, that was probably the closest thing. And even then, I know people from England would go to that, but it's quite a hefty way to go to travel for that style. Yeah.
I think the closest thing you would have probably got is just big group rides at the time.
Yeah.
Jack was one of the people that organised group rides. He had an amazing social media even then. Yeah. He just knew a lot of people.
Yeah. Far more than we did.
Far more than we did. We were just very much concentrated on 2.5 acres in Essex.
Yeah.
And during the conversation, Jack sort of went away from the enthusiasm for Onza Fest.
So just to be clear, the listeners there, so I know Poyser coming in when, we do a bike festival and Onza would support it. But obviously you were in that favour saying, actually, we'd like it to be its own name.
Well, Jack did that. Jack was,
go on, sorry.
I think, Radical Bikes is big enough or is good enough to do its own thing. and have Onza come and support it.
Yeah.
But also we might get Monty, or we might get some other people to have trade stands, and all of a sudden I could see Jack's brain just exploding with this enthusiasm.
Live music, burgers, food, music. Yes.
Jack and Joe went away. Jack came back at some point and said, "Right, yeah, great. We'll do our own. This will be amazing." And all the enthusiasm you could ever want in a young man, and the passion. It's going to be Radfest, and it's going to be really cool, and we're going to have loads and loads of people, and it's going to be great. And I went, "Okay, Jack, I will build whatever you think we need." And Jack's going, "Yeah, and we'll get famous riders to come, and we'll have sponsorship, and we'll have trade stands, and we'll get this manufacturer,
competitions, all that sort of stuff."
Yeah, and I went, "Yeah, great. So if we could get the numbers up for a weekend, a little bit of money coming in, that would be nice."
Yeah.
And Jack and I went, "Right, here's the way this is going to work. Complete, fantastic. You do this, I do that." And he did it. And it was amazing. He organised the band, he organised the ticket, he organised the people, and I organised the field.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will say, yes, but so Jack comes in on the Friday and runs this thing and stands on a microphone. There's an awful lot of work, far more than I ever realised goes ahead of it and afterwards. And certainly Radfest would not have happened if it wasn't for Jack.
It was a team effort, of course, because he says the same to you.
Yeah.
And all the other people that helped,
people that the actual attendees, I know from my personal experience of the first Radfest, which was my first time, going to Radical Bikes, actually meeting you, and you're like, "Oh, you're from Cornwall. We love Cornwall," and that's how we sort of just clicked. You drove all the way from Cornwall for this. Jack reaching out to me on Facebook. I don't even really know who he is, but I'm like, wow, this guy is a big trials rider. Was from the Get DVDs, and he just seen me and James down and messaged us directly, going, "Hey guys, hey, I'd love it if you could come to this, like speaking to me one-on-one rather than just putting a poster out like, here it is for everyone." And he actively did that. And
he was very good at coordinating the people.
I think
the message out there really well.
One of the biggest things that everybody, I think, I've never met anybody that has said anything other than Jack. He's just a nice guy. And people warm to him. He, have a 5-minute conversation with Jack, and you just decided you'd look quite like this bloke. And if he says, "Meet me in a field in God knows where on the 23rd of August," you go, "Okay."
Yeah.
Nobody knew what it was all about.
Yeah. That's it.
We put out Radfest tickets, and people go, "Oh, yes, I've got to go to this," etc. But the first one, nobody knew anything about it.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic. It was brilliant. It's it's had its not, I won't say it's incidents, but Jack and I have had many a time where we've sort of just dragged each other sort of behind a lorry and go, "Oh God,
it's got to be, it can be tough."
Oh yes.
If ever the idiot with the toilet roll listens to this, I did shout at him. He's in the camping area. He's got a toilet roll. He's setting light to it. He's had a couple of beers Saturday night, and I've just shouted across the field, "Oi, don't be a dick!"
Yeah.
And the whole field went quiet.
It was a big shout.
It was a big shout.
But everyone respects you, Mick. So I think it was one of those things. Once it was heard, it was like, Mick has spoken. Everyone, shut up, like please.
And Jack, Jack fed off of me and I fed off of Jack, and it was a great combination. But also the thing that I realise is that all of you are growing up. Now, the fact Jack was a full grown, an adult when I met him, but now got children, so he can't come and he doesn't do this. And I still don't think of Jack any less of being one of my guys than the fact he hasn't been in the field for a year or two. You know, he's still.
Oh, he'll be there this year, mate, with the little one. I put money on it. Yeah, I put money on it.
And everybody like that, you know.
Yeah, and just in case we've said his name quite a few times, I'll plug it here. You can listen to Jack Meek's podcast on you're testing me on it now. I don't know what the episode number is, but in case you're wondering who Jack Meek is, you can go and hear a little bit more on his story. Now, we know you're both sort of keen cyclist, which is important on a podcast like this. We usually go into a story of a Shin Dig, right? I think you know what's coming here, but seems as you do have a story. It's not quite a shin. It's a tent peg injury.
The tent peg, the famous tent peg injury.
Yeah, so I do have some images which I'll show you everyone in a second, but do you want to try and go into your worst injury a little bit, Mick, for the listeners?
I do. I don't know if I don't know.
I can see it. Well, what I'm going to do, so you can sort of see the scar anyway, but I'll get some pictures as you.
All of the thing that makes this completely different to all of the shindigs that you've had on the podcast.
Yeah.
That before and after this tent peg incident, if you'd have said to me, "Do you want that to happen?" to you, I would have said yes, because I'm much happier that it happened to me than anybody else.
Yes, we will add that if this had happened to any,
I'll run the story.
Go on, and then I'll bring up some illustrations as you go through it. Then, Mick.
Okay, that's cool. I was riding my fat bike, my Onza unit or whatever it's called, and I was getting pretty good, I must admit. Is Chris laughing? I can't see Chris.
Yeah.
And I was spending time probably each weekend with a little bit of help from Tom and all the other lads, saying do this. And I was getting over the tables, and I was just about getting my front wheel off the ground. Yeah. Obviously, not being the skinniest of guys. Joe Marr, photographer, he's got a brilliant picture of me, one of his best photos ever, of me with my front wheel off the ground. And a father and his son came in the field. Very good lad rider, BMX rider, could do lots. And Pete was standing there watching me, and I was showing off a bit, as you do. So I was going a little bit faster, trying to go a little bit higher. You always tell your kids don't show off, don't you?
Yeah.
You never think of it yourself.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll ever learn.
No. Second or last table, whatever it was, and it all went horribly wrong, and I went out the side, ended up in a big heap down the bottom of the channel between the jump lines, and instantly you're embarrassed, aren't you? You've fallen off. You stand up and you look around and you pick your glasses up and your helmet's in one piece, and you do that instant assessment of, right, is anything broken? No. Cam, one of our digger crew, came down from the top rolling to my assistance, sort of stood me up and said, "Oh, Mick, you've got a splinter in your arm."
I think I've got, and
I couldn't straighten my arm. I couldn't straighten my arm. Oh, we've got you back on video now.
Oh, you can see us then. Sorry, that's good. Well, I should have started that from the beginning. There's your splinter.
Splinter, yeah.
Can you see it?
Yes. Wow, that is good. Anyway, I couldn't straighten my arm, and I looked at this, and I thought, right, I'll pull that out. And it wouldn't come. I gave it a tug, and it wouldn't come out.
So that's that. I'll share the other one. Why you might not have been able to pull it out. Let's get this one on the screen. Can you see that? They might not have been quick enough.
No, we can't. Yes, the X-ray. Yeah, that's cool.
There we go. Go on, but talk us through that one, Mick.
Anyway, I looked at this, and you can see the little hook at the end.
Yeah.
And I in my brain, I went, right, I recognise that hook. It's a tent peg. A tent peg's got to be 10 inches long. I can see 4 inches of it.
Oh, just
so brutal.
6 inches of it is in my arm.
Yeah.
Okay, by this time, the world and its wife, first aid's arrived, Maria, or Tom or Matt, whoever was in charge at the time, and looked at the arm and went, right, that's going to need something more than me just pulling it out here. Okay, we'll go to hospital. So Maria decided she'd take me to hospital. My van was at Rad, her car was at the house, so we took my van. Never been keen on Maria driving my van, so I drove.
Yeah, that's what was. So just to add that, you were in quite a serious injury there, but it's like, right, I'm still driving.
Yeah.
As bad as Maria driving.
Sorry, yeah. See, I wanted to get to hospital in one piece with a tent peg.
And in good time.
And in good time.
That's the key thing.
That was the key. Too safe. Go on.
The silly thing was, it was a Saturday night, and as Chris will bear us out, quite often on a Saturday night we'd be worn out by the time 6 o'clock came, so we'd have a Chinese takeaway. And I said to Matthew, "You'll have to organise the takeaway tonight because Mum and I are going to be late."
A bit late.
I'm 3 days. I'm in hospital.
Because you didn't know that was gonna be the case. You thought you'd be home that evening. I can't wait for my Chinese.
Exactly, and it was
surgery. Yeah.
But thank God it was in my arm than anybody else's.
So you did have surgery on it. Because I've got this other picture you sent me when it loads. Where's it gone?
Yes.
That's a hefty scar there, isn't it?
Yeah, 20. I think it's 27 stitches. But they, rather than just pull it out, they cut my arm open to lift it out because they wanted to clean all the muck out.
Yeah.
So they sliced my arm all the way up to my elbow, and wouldn't give me the tent peg.
No.
What? I thought that was like a thing. You would get to keep the metal that was like stored in. Oh, that's a shame. I thought we might have had it framed at Radical Bikes on the injury wall.
So that's obviously a while on. It all happened, I'd say, innocently. It's dead simple. We'd had a few weekends before. We'd had a load of campers at an event. One of them had banged their tent peg into the ground. It had bent. They pulled that bent tent peg out and thrown it.
Yeah.
You're never going to stop something like that, however stupid it is.
Yeah.
So what we do now after camping, somebody goes through the jumps everywhere with as much vigilance as we can. We make a thing of it. Yeah. Yes, who's going to do the tent peg run?
That's why I always remember you screaming at the end, "Everyone, take your tent pegs home!"
That's it, isn't it?
And we do still find, even after reminders, we do still find one or two, don't we?
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? And the way the
tent peg.
Yeah, the way the jumps are
he
moved
got
around.
to be called Peggy Mitchell after that.
No, why didn't I think of that? Oh,
I remember this.
Peggy Mitchell.
So that was my as much of a near a shindig as I can get. My proper shindigs are all tiny and not worthy of comment. But I have got a riding scar. Which...
That's it. And I know Maria does get out on her bike with you when you drag her too.
I do, yes. Yeah, no, I do. I love riding my bike. And when I was little, I loved bike rides. I used to be out in the garden with my brother. We were always fiddling about with our bikes, and my parents have a long garden that slopes down, and I can remember riding down and then just ramming the back brake on and making the back wheels skid out and picking up
popping the tyres.
I thought you were just going to say you went straight through the fence at the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not very brave, but I do I did manage to master a few of the little uppy downy bits in the woods, which was enough for me. That was great. If I can go in the woods and just do a few of the little uppy down bits, I'm quite happy. And I think you get a good buzz, don't you? And you just you enjoy being outside, and you feel like a child again as well when you get
right.
on the bike.
I mean, it's always nice to see when we were at Rad riding around. instead of you just sort of you might walk up with a cup of tea and say hello. Mick comes over on his bike with his helmet, like, yeah, just having a little ride round the field.
Yeah,
you know.
It's what we're about, isn't it? We keep saying to people, come and do this.
Get on your bike.
Even if you're not going to do tricks, come and spectate, ride in the woods.
That's it. We did do the lead rides where we were taking. We've done ladies' rides for the This Girl Can campaign when they were trying to get more girls into sports. We did that. We've done family rides. So we've tried to make it a broader thing, So
I wanted to touch base for everyone who's might not be all trials, but I know there are dirt jump wars. There's big competitions for dirt jumpers.
Yeah, and the unicycle guys.
And wasn't there an
used to do the mud sweating gears?
Yeah, so it was my first one, I think last year before, where I saw there's like a cross country race that people were doing. So as well as it's got this sort of trials park, I know we've touched a lot on that, but it's so much more than that, and there's so much.
They even do archery.
Yeah, I only found this out like last year.
When actually got the infrastructure in place, though, why not use it? And so some people have used us as a start-finish point. We've had orienteers going off doing. We've had the archery group going off. So our thinking is, there's a facility there, and we want people to use it.
It's a central hub of cyclists and.
Yeah, it's a lovely part of the countryside, and we've been incredibly lucky to have lived there. So it's nice for other people to get out and do it, and even if people just come and have a cup of tea and bring a picnic and watch, that's fine with us.
I like to think you've only gone about halfway.
Spread the love.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying 10, 12 years old now. Radical Bikes, and. There's so much more to come to it. I can see it. I'm excited for it. I can see this being like...
Me and Tom have been brainstorming for a long time. And
it feels like you're only like halfway. All the things I hear Tom and Chris talk about and yourselves, it just feels like there's so much more to go. There's actually lots more to happen.
It evolves. It's like, We've been very lucky. We've had the opportunity to try things. Some have worked, some haven't.
Yeah.
Some have had an awful lot of energy put into them.
Yeah.
And we've realised that it's not what we thought it was. The demo team, right at the beginning, we had a demo team. It's probably not what you would call a demo team, like drop and roll and savage skills, etc.
But it was getting it out there, wasn't it? So
it was getting it out there, and the whole point.
I think I've got a picture to add to that here. I think you can correct me if I'm wrong. If this was your first ever sort of display picture,
we can't see it.
Hang on,
it'll come up in a second for you. I think your internet's a bit slow.
Right. Okay.
Can you see it now?
No.
Oh, I'll have to try and get it up in a second.
Oh no. Oh yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
was our very first.
That is the very first.
Yeah.
Very first demo in the village in Highwood.
Yeah.
Of Matt and Tom at their village fete.
Right, it's Matt and Tom. I can just about see who's. Yeah. Tom's on the black bike. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tom's on his Onza. With green wheels, I think.
That bike is still around somewhere.
Really?
A guy posted about it the other day.
Was that the one that was stolen?
Yeah. And then a guy turned up at Rad on it.
10 years later, it appeared, didn't it? Oh, my goodness.
It's probably got to be 12 now, because literally Rad was just an idea and was a thought. We just literally sort of...
And then what's Matt looks like he's on the...
He was on... That's one of the limeys.
The original... Yeah.
Oh,
if you've been in the shop... There's a back end of a limey cut off as a shop rattle, isn't there?
Oh, and that's the bike.
That's that frame.
Right.
That is right.
He had about 3, didn't he?
He had about 3 in as many weeks almost, I think that...
Or maybe he snapped them. Let's be...
I remember him going out to... Chris will remember. Do you remember the tree that went over the pond, Chris?
Yeah. Over the house, big pond.
It was just a stump. And Matthew literally went up this stump on his bike, just being built, and pride and joy, came back and went, I've got a bit of a dent in the bottom tube.
That was it.
And he was a bit miffed and a bit
Yeah.
upset or sad or angry, whatever. And literally 2 rides later, the thing was in 2 halves.
Yeah.
I will do, and this sadly doesn't happen now, but at the time, Joe Poyes at Onza had a brilliant thing. If you broke a frame, they would give you discount off the next one.
Yeah.
And it was a good discount. So you just kept on going back. And
so Matt basically ended up with a couple free frames.
Yeah, I mean that was when Onza were really dominating the market. Then we spoke to like Carthy was sponsored by Onza then, and he's now the top rider. So they were really dominating the entry level market.
They were at a price that people could afford.
Yeah. Dominating the entry level. I just think it's a shame that there isn't really that anymore. But
that was our first demo, and we took the demo thing from that day, if you like, with some frames I built up in the workshop the week before, which
are still rad, aren't they? They're still selling them threads to this day.
Part of the trials part now, just actually looking at that. So we're still riding it.
Oh yeah, still riding it.
Yeah.
We went from there to the Olympic torch ceremony, where we were quite proud of the people.
Yeah. That was our biggest. That was our biggest crowd for that demo rig, wasn't it? Yeah, that was lovely. We had we were at Highlands Park, and it was good because again we were showing trials. There was 15,000 odd people there, and we were proud about that, weren't we?
That was a really good sort of get radical bikes out there. I bet people didn't even know it was so close and etc.
Yeah,
it was one of the memorable reasons for so many things. Really, we were asked for 4 riders, I think it was. For 2 or 3 minutes. They gave us the music. They told us what to do. Then they cut it down to 3 riders. And we listened to the piece of music and the riders went, "Oh, we can't do this." We had Joe Marr, Dan Wheeler, Tom Rankin and Matthew. That was our first choice. At the time, Tom was riding dirt. So he was out of the trials at that time.
Yeah.
We sorted out some moves, and Matthew.
And we could only have one platform.
Yeah, we could only have one platform.
Quite limited.
Very limited.
Stage, very limited.
Very regimented. It had to be this. It had to be that. And Matthew sort of freaked really. I can't do this. I can't get that. I can't perform in front of all these people. And literally, we had a training session in the field, and Matthew just went sort of off the deep end. He just
wasn't sure,
didn't like it, and
when you're not sure and you haven't got the feeling, then you'd know, right?
And his girlfriend, who is now Natalie, his wife
now, yes, they are married.
Shout out
to Matt and Natalie.
Matt and Nat.
Yeah.
She went, okay, it's timing. You're having trouble with this. We can chat about this. We can work. And the pair of them put in hours and hours in the barn, just practicing for this. What was only something stupid like 50 seconds on stage. And he went up there. He did it. He was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And the pair of them got there. Because obviously, from my point of view, it would be nice to have one of my boys up there.
100%, yeah. And it was, you started RAD for them. Really, that was the instigator. So, of course, they should be in the limelight.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
But obviously, I'm the sort of guy that isn't... I hate the pushy parents. I hate it. When we were at Essex bike trials, you'd have some parent saying to his kid, "Oh, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, try hard to do this." Like that,
I could never hear you say that, even you saying it then, Mick. Yeah.
No, that's it, isn't it? That was a real proud moment. There's lots of them, but that's one that sort of sticks in there.
Really good. Well, speaking of moments, I think this is a difficult question, but do you have a most memorable sort of RAD Fest or memorable event that was at RAD that kind of you felt impacted you, or was there a clicking point you were like, wow, we've really done something here? As in, do you know what I mean? It was like...
That is every Radfest.
Every year. At the end, might I add, probably.
No, it's not. It gets you, and it's terrible because it creeps up and kicks you in the teeth, as these things always do, where you just see something and it makes me cry.
Oh, Mick, we love you so much, mate. You're getting me going now. I can just see it in his face.
There are so many. One of the early Radfests, the kicker comp.
Yes. Oh. Yes. You can watch that on YouTube now. If anyone doesn't know what that is, you can see Mick in the background like, please, I'll catch you if you're going to die. Please, no.
All I'm going to say to that is you and Baden.
Why did I do that? I had no idea that it was ever going to get out of control.
Yeah.
I'd seen that, and we practiced it a few weeks before. Yeah, this is good. We can do this. We need 10 pallets. And it's going to be 6 foot.
Yeah. Right, you think, maybe just about my height. Yeah. Mick's like, I'm happy with that.
I think it literally doubled.
We've got some good riders coming, and they'll do this. And my little team, I haven't got.
Yeah, you're all a team, the Rad team and your crew.
The riders that I like to look after, and that means absolutely everybody. But there are a couple that sort of stand out, and Ewan's yellow 4-player, I think it was.
Yes.
Or the 24. They just went to a different level, and it scared the living daylights out of me. They were going so high.
Yeah.
And Ewan and Joe, I don't know, if you could put those two in any situation in the world, they would compete.
Yeah, despite them being slightly different disciplines, they'll go head to head.
Yeah, they were
another guy there as well.
Leon.
But Leo Noble.
Nobel?
Yeah, Noble. Yes.
Leo Noble.
So it's Leo, sorry, not Leon. Yes.
He took it to a different level. They were going, and they were having to go to bash guard and putting a leg down, and then he just went up to front, and at that point up to front was quite a
front hops.
The hops after
just thinking,
it was amazing.
Jack and I are looking at each other saying, we've got to stop this.
I think they were literally having to climb down. It was that high that they couldn't drop off it. You couldn't drop off it.
I remember it's like you were like you and me passing his bike to Mick, being like, yeah, just come down. Don't jump, that's fine, you've got up there.
That is a memorable.
Yeah, I do agree. It's kind of, you can go and watch it. It's on. But we're gonna have a guess here. What year do you think that was? I'm gonna say 2013. I want to say 2013.
Yeah, I think 2013.
And in other things, I say it doesn't have to be a big thing. It doesn't have to be something major that everybody goes, wow, that's amazing. Another thing that gets me every time is a picture of a little boy in a bright helmet on a strider bike, going through a puddle at Rad. That's Logan Lake, by the way. Jason.
Yes, little Logan, who will be the number one day.
Nipping around at your ankles.
The whole thing, you've had Jason on the podcast. Cracking guy, absolutely lovely. But what makes Jason so powerful to me is Logan. It's the fact that I've done this, and I was a 6'10" dreadlock.
He does everything for his family.
That's immaterial. To Logan, he's just a dad that takes him out to somewhere to ride his bike, and that's the most important thing, that's another thing that gets me. What else gets me? Always seeing a lovely train going over the jumps.
Oh yeah, we like to see
that. Is just that lifts my soul every time I see it.
Yeah, it's something spectacular to watch anyway. So to the fact of point being like, wow, this used to be just grass. It was nothing.
Sort of in full swing with people in all the different areas, and it's you sort of you have to stop every now and again, don't you, and just have a little look round and think, yeah, this is a good
thing. Sit back, look what we did. Like, started, you know, it's
all for the right reasons.
Yeah,
we've got another one. I think it's not a Radfest moment, but it's an event moment. You know, we were doing cash for tricks on the Resi ramp for the BMX lads.
Nice.
We had all our top riders, you know, they're all fantastic, doing amazing things, and we've got a young lad that was trying one trick, and that was his trick. That's the best trick he could do, and there were, I don't know, 150 people around the ramp watching, and he's trying this trick and he's failing and he's bailing out. Sometimes he's better, he's closer, but he's not quite getting it. And in the end, he does get this trick. It's not the best trick of the day by any means, but for that lad,
it's all down to the person really who's doing the trick.
Whole time trying to get that trick right. And when he did,
everybody just
goes crazy.
Yeah, I can even. It's just we know that.
I can hear the noise in my head now.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how good they are. They could have been riding for 2 weeks, right? And it could be them going off a curb. And we're not sort of quite sure. But there's us riding 15 odd years, and we will be screaming at them like, "Yes, mate, you did it!" Because it's all down to the person, and we all ride for our enjoyment.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's all we ever tried to do. Yeah. And you know, so what's all this radical bikes about then? It's getting people on bikes, kids on bikes. Yep. Don't care what bike, don't care what rules, don't care if you put 1 foot down, 2 foot down. I don't mind.
Ride it backwards, do what you want.
2 minutes, half a minute, whatever. Enjoy it. Gets me vote.
Yeah.
If someone ever asked me what radical bikes was, I'd be like, watch a Radfest video, and that explains it all.
You'd be like, oh, where do I even start? If someone asked that question, I'd be like, man, this you just can't explain this in one sentence.
No.
The video is good. I mean, we've been really lucky with when you were saying about other things that people have done through radical bikes and stuff. We've been lucky that we've had people that have been really good in photography and video making, so that it's helped us and it's helped them. You know.
Yes, famous riders who come and ride.
Yeah, people coming and filming, and you know. It's great because it's a good venue for filming, and it's we've been happy for people to do that. But it's been a great advert for us, and it's been really nice to have the really well done Radfest videos, because again that all feeds into people saying, after Radfest when you feel a bit flat, like, it's done then for another year, but we're going to watch the video next week, So.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if he's listening, but shout out to Joe Simpkins.
Oh yeah, actually, shout out to Joe for producing many medias for you guys.
Yeah,
I'm so proud of Joe. He is such
talented.
Yeah, he's still making videos. You can go and watch another one from Joe right now on the building of the dirt jumps. I think part 2 is available.
He's so talented.
He's so talented and so brilliant and such a nice guy.
So kind to us for doing it.
I can tell you, people are going to look at this and go, yeah, but that radical bikes, they've only got nice guys there. We have got. I don't love everybody.
Not everybody's nice. No.
We had. I think we'd gone away on holiday, and we had a dirt jumper who wasn't really part of our. I'm going to say scene, but that's probably not the right word.
Part of the family. He could just,
Yeah.
He came in the field. And he had a rear-wheel drive BMW and done some donuts in the car on the grass, and rode his bike, etc. And before I could even think about saying anything, Matthew was.
There we go.
Go on. Sorry, Mick. So Matt, what was Matt saying?
Matthew went over the fence and shouted at him and kicked him out, and he hasn't been back in since. But yeah, he's.
I was about to say that's a sackable offence or a banned offence right there. You know.
Don't wreck the camping area.
Yeah.
It is about. It's there for enjoyment. It's not for being trashed. And I'm gonna say that is the only time that I can think that somebody has really, obviously apart from being burgled and the silly things. You know, everybody else is got nothing but love for the place.
Most people come along and follow the rules. The main one is wearing a helmet, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think they pick up on the fact that, you know,
we all do that too. If someone's not wearing a helmet, generally not because it's radical, you're just like, dude, put a helmet on, that's not cool.
Yeah.
And I think Trials has established that kind of attitude towards it. You just find people who don't wear a helmet quite disrespectful. You're like, can't even respect yourself, then all right, we're not going to respect you.
I think everyone starts out probably not riding with a lid, but then you realise that you're quite in a dangerous sport.
My mum was like, you are not going out without a helmet. And that was why I said, okay, well, buy me a nice one and I'll wear it. That's the bottom line.
I had a big crash on my mountain bike last year, and if I didn't have a helmet on, I don't think.
Exactly. I've had many a bails myself that have been quite important. So we're looking at the time here. There's a couple of things I don't want to miss. So Mick and Maria, you've both done amazing things for the community, the country, everything like that. You even got noticed for this and won an award, Mick. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? I think I've got a picture somewhere whilst you go into that. You've got the award there, haven't you?
Oh, there she is.
The Unsung Hero Award.
Yeah.
Let's just get this picture up.
I got nominated. I got nominated for the
on your screen in a second.
Sports Personality of the Year, Unsung Hero. Every year the BBC do, you know, and Lewis Hamilton seems to just win it all the time now.
Yeah. It was about time that you stepped up, Mick.
Well, yeah, but let's be honest, he's just a car driver like the rest of us, you know. But anyway, the way the Unsung Hero thing works is that each BBC region puts out there to its viewers, if you've got anybody that's an unsung hero in your mind, and you get shortlisted, and then they do votes, and if you're lucky enough to win your regional area, which I was, which
rightly so, because every trials biker in the country voted for you, Mick.
Yeah, that's
why it was just simple. We're like, hey, of course you should win.
Yeah.
So what is that? That's Cambridge, Norfolk, Suffolk, Essex, Bedfordshire.
Yeah, it's that eastern.
It's the east.
And I won. Thank you. But as well as getting a lovely trophy and some airtime on local radio, etc., and local television after the BBC News, you get to go to the main event, which is the Sports Personality of the Year, big posh shindig, where everybody who's anybody in the sports world goes there.
I've got your little thing there.
Oh, I've got a little thing that says 27 sports, but you can't.
See, no, it's a bit shiny, but I can just say the sports.
Oh,
there we go.
2017.
Yeah.
So Maria and I get, I might say, an all expenses paid weekend up at Liverpool. Nice, absolutely lovely.
Yeah.
And we got to meet some of the sporting world's great and good.
It was really lovely experience.
Really, really nice. Really. Obviously, we didn't win, but we
came close.
We came close. We came close. We met Chris Hoy. To shake Chris Hoy's hand is a great thing.
And someone Chris was shaking your hand, knowing what you were sort of there for, rather than just some stranger. Having a major impact on the bike scene.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
That's the sort of thing that at the start, if someone had said to you,
this will take you to meet Chris Hoy.
In a few years' time, you'll be part of that celebration of sport. You would have thought, wow, and it happened, and that was really,
It's a truly incredible journey, to be honest. Yeah,
proud thing, and to represent all those guys that have come and ridden, enjoyed their bikes.
With the riders coming, that wouldn't happen, would it? If
without
riders,
you lot, it'd be nothing.
That's the key, isn't it?
I just cannot wait. I feel all giggly inside. I just can't wait to get back. Yeah, I know this is the first time for 10 years that you're rebuilding the trials part. You know, like you were saying, you put the first tyre in 10 years ago, and it's only
pulled out before Christmas. Yeah.
Pulled out of Christmas. And as soon as we obviously there's a couple of restrictions that sadly Tom and Molly are having to work with. COVID is one of them, and that is a whole new ball game for anybody. But every year, this time it's mid-January, the field looks incredibly sad because it's wet, it's horrible, it's muddy. The digger crew have come in before Christmas and rearranged the jumps as they do to more or less degree every year. But it's nothing's shaped, nothing's nice, nothing's sculptured. It's just basic mounds. It looks a disaster. It's horrible.
I dare look at it. I don't want to see it. It'll probably make me sad.
And we did think, because obviously we were getting some of the old obstacles that have been there since day one. Need to be changed and got rid of and stuff. So we thought, right, we've got this COVID thing that's giving us an opportunity to change everything.
Reset.
Grabbed the metal and said, right, telehandler, let's get it all out. Let's start. And obviously, I don't know, I might be treading on Tom's toes here, but to my mind, there is a very, very tiny little bit that says we want to do something different. We want to do something new. When we first started, we were the only trials park in the UK. Sorry, Kelly. Sorry, Adam Maud.
Now there are at least 3 or 4.
You want to be the best.
Who doesn't want to be? But that's what's making both of you, anyone who's running a trial, any of the listeners who build on that, that's what makes it so great. Because if you've got no one to kind of push yourself against or compete, it's not going to improve. It's the same with riders. If me and Chris don't ride with each other or push each other, you don't get to that next step. So I think it's absolutely healthy to have some form of competition. I'll use that word. But
I am so pleased and proud and happy that Kelly and Dave and Robin and Jill have done, set up their trials parks, and I wish them every success. It is fantastic. And if there's any tiny way that they've looked at RAD and gone, we could do something like that, then sort of my job's fulfilled, really.
I was about to say you've done a better job than you could have thought of, because you've gone and made influenced others to create the same sort of area.
And the more people that build one, the more people will want to build one, and the sport will grow. It is not that I don't take any responsibility for any of it, but it's encouraging. It's really encouraging to see.
You want more
people doing it.
Exactly. Just creating a discussion with it too. If they're realizing, being like, I'm not saying that it's an easy thing to do, but you're explaining to us like, well, this is actually how we did it. It was just kind of organic. We didn't have to go and speak to the council like, I want to put pallets there. I know that can get complicated, and there are levels of that. But again, you guys have done absolutely amazing job. Again, it's just so, I don't think you realize how important that place is to me and to Chris and to some of us, how it is our lives. It is so really means a lot. We're running out of time, because I know that we could sit and chat here for hours,
for the rest of the day,
and hours. One final question I just want to find out from you guys: who would you want to see on the podcast? Is there anyone in particular you want to hear from?
We've been thinking about this, and at the risk of going on for another couple of hours, we have got a couple. I would like to see Stuart Matthews.
I said this.
Good, called out. Stuart Matthews has been called out. I hope he's listening. If he's not, we're coming. Tell him we're coming for him.
He might not play. He might not play the game. He's a very, very busy man. And we think Dan Wheeler.
Yeah, we think Dan Wheeler should come on.
No one said Wheeler yet.
No one has said Dan Wheeler. He's actually in hibernation right now.
He normally jets off to another country this time of year, doesn't he?
I did see him comment in the London Trials chat yesterday, so he is alive somewhere. But I know generally he goes in hibernation during this time.
Yeah.
But so Dan Wheeler, I'll get him on the list there. One of the original Essex lads. We've got Rankin on the list too. He's already agreed.
Young, any of the young riders, any of the young riders, because they are the people now that the next generation will look up to.
Yeah. I've got a few names from the youngsters there.
Maybe the young lads.
You've got to keep getting people in at the grassroots, haven't you? And,
yeah. I think we're trying to do that sort of very old generation to the freshest and newest generation. Yeah.
Here's a Mick Mitchell thing. It's a triangle. You've got a hell of a lot of riders to put in at the bottom to get Jack Carthy out the top.
Yeah, that is it.
We've already interviewed Carthy. No, have we? No, have we at this point? We haven't at this point. He's going to be. Sorry, he's going to be. Yeah, he will be eventually. Guys, thank you so much. You can find more about Radical Bikes on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, the whole lot. Type in Radical Bikes, and you can even find Mick and Maria on there as well if you'd like to. They're just Mick and Maria Radical Bikes.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Okay. Guys, thank you so much for your time and joining myself and Chris here, just chatting away.
Lovely to see you both.
Yeah, and stay safe whilst you can, and hopefully we will cross paths soon and perhaps see each other at Rad, hopefully, maybe in the near future.
Hopefully, yeah.
We all need a hug.
We need to do that.
Yeah. I've forgotten what they are now, to be honest. So be nice once we all get. I say when we go out to normal, it's just when we've all got the vaccine now, isn't it? Get me my vaccine card.
We can get the sunshine. Get back to
life. Well, we'll be before you because we're old.
Yeah, so they say. I mean, apparently I might be able to get mine in September, but either way, let's just get the rest of everyone else done and dusted that needs it.
We'll get there.
That's good.
Enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Let's hear it for Mick and Maria Mitchell, the god and goddess of Radical Bikes, of course, that will be reopening this year. We're very excited about it all. Thanks again, guys, and we'll speak to you very, very soon.
Bye.
Bye.